weather a little bit, but we're going to get through it. No problem.
Arthur, you let me know when you're ready. Okay. We'll go ahead and get started with wide receiver Malachi Carter. As you guys know, Malachi, with one more game played, will break Georgia Tech's all-time record for games played, which he tied this past weekend. So, questions for Malachi? Rod?
Going up to Blacksburg, I know you probably have some good memories from up there. What stands out to you, about your trips up to Blacksburg?
Yeah, honestly, the last time we went to Blacksburg, I'm pretty sure I was a freshman. That's the last time I was at that stadium. And, if you can recall back to that year, it was a pretty impressive win we had. But what I can remember from the stadium is just, how out the way it was. I remember the first thing I'm thinking is, Mike Vick was here. He probably had his place rocking. And I remember I couldn't really hear myself talk going out there. Just, it was a primetime game. I think it might have been sold out, honestly. But, it was just loud. You couldn't hear yourself. You couldn't hear no one next to you. And I just remember having to play a lot of that game just because, some other receivers were a little banged up that game. And I had to go out there and step up for the team and, block a bunch of big old defensive ends and linebackers. And, I stuck my head in there and I did it. And we came out with the win. So I think that probably was one of the most, probably one of the games where I felt like I really contributed that year, freshman year. Because, I was a freshman. Coach just, threw me in when I could play. But, that game specifically, Virginia Tech, I got clips on my phone still to this day of some of the blocks I made just because of how happy I was for myself. But, yeah, I definitely felt like I really made a contribution to that win that day. So I'm excited to go back.
The last few games since Jeff got hurt have been kind of difficult for you guys offensively. And
Right.
I guess how much did it help having the second half against Florida State and getting some confidence in Zach, and then maybe having Jeff again, in some capacity this week, is to build some more confidence for you guys moving ahead to get back on track offensively?
Right. Obviously, yeah, it's been a little difficult, but it's always good when you can see, some positivity come out of the offense, especially when you got guys that aren't Jeff at quarterback, because, obviously when your starting quarterback goes down, there's always doubts, how well will we play, because, you don't really know till game time. But, to see Zach Power go out there and play the way he played, fearless, making throws with guys in his face, running through defenders for touchdowns, stiff arming for first downs, it just kind of gives you that confidence, like, okay, we got another guy who's, a dog out here, who's fearless, who'll come out here and play for his team. So it was great to see. It just lets you know that, regardless of what happens, I'm sure Jeff will be good, but, if not, I know we'll be fine. So, it was just good to see that to end the game.
Okay.
About the record, I'm curious, when did you first become aware that it was a possibility, and now that it's here, what would that mean to you to break a record of that's been, of all time?
I actually heard before the season, Andy let me know that I had a couple more games during the season until I could tie it and then break it. But, once the season starts, I kind of forgot all about it, and I guess this past game I tied it, which is cool. But, my focus has really just been doing whatever I can to help the team win. We haven't had, the best season going so far. So, that's kind of what I'm dwelling on the most, just how can we get a win? How can we, just step up and play the way we know we can. So, it's cool. I'll break the record. Yeah, I'm breaking next week. But, if we win, that'll be a way better, situation. So that's the ultimate goal.
Thanks. Kelly?
You guys have been close to kind of turning the corner at times this season, and
Right.
it's your last year. Kind of how important and kind of what have you said to the guys come into your last college games here to try to finish strong and maybe get to a bowl game or have a good finish?
Yeah, it's a bunch of guys that was our last go around, and biggest thing is just coming out here every day and having that mindset. Anytime you feel like you may not want to come out here, don't really feel the best, just remind yourself it's the last one. Whatever number of practices here, it's the last number of practice you're gonna have. And just thinking about that, that'll give you enough motivation in itself in the moment, and a bunch of the other guys feel the same way. So, the young guys know it too, especially the receivers. Me and EJ, this our last one, but the other receivers, they know that too. And because of that, they come out here and put in that work for us every day, because we know that they know that we rely on them also. So, we all just come out here and have fun with each other. I mean, that's what, helps us get through it anyway. That's what makes it, fun to be out here and play football, just soaking in all these moments. That's what I'm really dwelling on instead of, man, I only got this many left. I just try to stay in the moment with my guys. So,
Rod?
What influence has Coach Key had on you since he's taken over, as far as the team being disciplined, moving forward, continue to play hard, being physical, that type of thing out there?
Yeah, I mean, Coach Key's done a great job of just, continuing everything that we stood for, before Collins left. He just tells us every day what our potential is and, how we got to come out here and go to work every day, things that we got to do to win. And he's right, honestly. When we go out there and we don't win, it's probably the things he said, which is the reasons why we didn't. And, he just knows how to talk to us. He knows how to get us ready for the game out here, pregame, right before we walk out the tunnel. He's an intense guy, I'm sure you know. And, he just instills that in us. And it's great to be around him. His energy, his focus, his love for the game, for this team, with him being, an alumni here. And you can just see how much he cares, how much he wants us to win. He feels like we deserve it. And, we just love playing for him.
Ken, we'll wrap this up with Malachi.
I think you've missed one game. That was a couple weeks ago.
It was Duke, yes.
Yeah. I'm
Yes.
curious, I guess, how much of that bugged you just because you played all of the rest, but I guess more like, what does it say to you that you've been able to, be ready for each game and be good enough to make it in each game?
Yeah, that Duke game just killed me, man. I mean, we won. That was the best thing about it. I mean, I'm on ESPN just refreshing, because I couldn't get the game on TV for some reason. Well, I'm just on ESPN refreshing, and then, I'm sure y'all know them last 5 minutes had me, about to have a heart attack. But, we came out with the win, and it was great. But to really, once the game started, and I see that my guys out there without me, and it was when it really hit me, this is not where I belong. I shouldn't be home, But it was just, an injury. I couldn't really, just say whatever and just play through, I think legally I couldn't. I just had to, stay home, bro. So I couldn't get through that one. I would have if I could have, but I couldn't. And I had to stay home and, just cheer on my guys from the couch. And, I mean, it was definitely hurt, but, my guys know that. They went out there and played. I came back, and they let me know, we held it down for you, and it just feels good. But, to speak on the second point, I mean, I was telling them earlier, my family taught us early in life that if you can be there for people, if you can be there for your family, if you can be there for whoever you need to be there for, then do it, regardless of how you feel about it, regardless of what's going on. So I just kind of take that mindset into football. I could be banged up, I could be sick, whatever it is, man. But, I mean, if my guys need me on the field, if I'm healthy enough to go out there and play, if I can play, I'm going to play. That's just what it is. I just feel like I have that obligation as a football player, the amount of work I put in, the trust that I build from the other players, the respect that I gain from the other players. I just want to show that every day. And 5 years straight, I kind of, stood true to that. So it's definitely something I'm proud of.
Thank you, Malachi.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all.
All right, we'll go ahead and get started with Burlsworth Trophy nominee Joe Fusel, and we'll go ahead and start with Kelly.
Kind of what point did you feel like you were going to be like a contributor this season and be in the O-line rotation? Kind of when did that kind of occur?
I think that began kind of at the beginning of fall camp. And it's kind of a tricky question because, even as a scout team guy last year, there's always a chance to kind of be an impact, to have a positive impact on the team. I mean, I think during fall camp, though, is kind of the moment where I realized I'd get a chance to play and really help on the field.
Ken?
I'm curious, if you can go back to the first game against Clemson and kind of maybe what you were thinking and feeling, maybe the first few series in particular, and then just how you feel like you've progressed over the course of the 8 games.
Yeah, it's obviously it was a big game, so it was very high stakes, I would want to say. But I mean, with every football game, you start off the game very excited. There's that kind of nervousness, and it's just getting through that first snap, that first play, and then the crowd kind of disappears, and you're kind of back into the game. You're just kind of back to playing football the way you kind of want to. I think as the games have gone on, that nervousness has kind of become a little bit more manageable. But I think, yes, during that first game, that just once the first snap's done, you're kind of back just to playing football.
With Coach Key taking over and having to be other places on the field during practice, how has that changed things at all for you guys, or is it pretty much business as usual, teaching the same things that he was teaching, that type of thing?
Yes, sir. Pretty much business as usual. Coach Brock does a good job of just keeping us reliable with our rules and just keep working to keep playing well.
Can you talk about your decision to come here? You had offers from schools to go play football on scholarship, and you made the decision to go the harder path here at Georgia Tech. Just can you walk me through like what made you decide to go that way? Because not a lot of guys would in your situation.
Well, I wanted to be an engineer. I wanted to play Division I college football, and I lived in Georgia. So about my sophomore year, I decided I was going to Georgia Tech, kind of whether they wanted me or not, and it looks like it worked out for me.
Okay.
What were your choices in terms of like schools that were recruiting you and wanted you to come play?
There weren't a ton of scholarship offers. There were a lot of offers to, I think, Stetson, Davidson, I think Morehead State. I believe I was talking to Wake Forest for a while. But the goal was Georgia Tech, and I think from a very early time period, it was very focused on coming here.
I imagine it's been interesting with Coach Key, and obviously your relationship there was a big factor in coming here too. But just to kind of see him take over, and what has it been like to kind of watch as an offensive lineman? You guys were the closest group with him. What has it been like to watch that?
It's been fun. He's a great guy, obviously. Very hard-nosed football coach, and it's been a ton of fun watching his practices evolve as he's become the head guy. A lot of good on good, I'd say. Just a lot of old-school football coach kind of things. That's the thing I really like about Key is he just not a lot of new stuff. He's very old-fashioned.
Right.
When you come in as a freshman, what has the journey been like? I imagine there's maybe days where you left practice and said, hey, am I doing the right thing, and that type of thing. How have you dealt with everything that was, placed in front of you until the time where you got that starting job?
It's just a matter of taking advantage of the opportunities you're given. And that comes from everywhere, on the field, during scout team, doing the right thing that they ask you to do. A big part of it was in the weight room. Coach Lou he does a very good job of instilling in you that if you want to get on the field, if you show up in the weight room, that you'll kind of get opportunities to get on the field. And I mean, there are so many opportunities to do the right thing. Just put yourself in a position where if they need somebody to fill in a role, that they can trust you to be that guy. I think that's been the number one thing, is just taking advantage of those opportunities.
Will A, obviously, teammate that's kind of gone in a similar path and has played a lot of important football here. And Sean Bedford a long time ago was a walk-on center that became, a all-ACC kind of player. Just is that the kind of things that inspire you? Like, how much has Will helped you kind of with your path a little bit, keeping you motivated, that kind of thing? And how much have you guys even talked about that?
It's not something that's talked quite so directly. It's just kind of a lead by example kind of situation. Will A is perhaps the most intelligent football player I've ever watched. And you just get the sense from watching him operate that he got his chances because he understood what was going on the field. And if they needed a guy to fill in that role, he was able to give 100% effort to get the job done. And I think, obviously, Sean's story, I'm not terribly familiar with. I believe he was the inaugural Burlsworth Trophy winner, wasn't he? Georgia Tech has just so many opportunities for people who want to work hard to kind of get those chances. I think just watching that, especially with Will A, it was it was very helpful to me to kind of stick to the course.
Ken?
You mentioned this a little bit before, but with Coach Brock and Coach Key, what is the level of Coach Key's involvement now with you guys, with with him being the interim coach?
Coach Key loves O-line, and he's in the room. He's very involved. Coach Brock is taking over a lot of the responsibilities, but they're both very involved in the O-line.
Coach, you want to wrap this up with Joe?
Sure. I wanted to ask about another guy that's in sort of your same boat, Jason Moore, and kind of what you've seen from him. Obviously, a guy you go against every day in practice too. Just kind of talk. It's kind of interesting to see like two guys, kind of like yourself and him, that are doing well in those same kind of roles, coming in as walk-on.
Jane was a great guy. I couldn't name someone I enjoy more on the team, and especially because he switched to D-line. Just watching him evolve as a player as he's gotten opportunities to, and especially in the weight room, he's maybe one of the strongest guys I've ever seen. Just watching him work every day, it's really something. And of course now he's next to me on the punt shield, so anytime I get to stand next to JMO is a great time.
Awesome. Joe, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you.
I appreciate it. I appreciate y'all. Thank you.
Congrats on the nomination.
Yes,
Yeah. Perfect. Okay. Last but not least, we have linebacker Charlie Thomas. We'll open the round for questions for Charlie. Rob?
On a lighter note, was that hit that the referee put on you the hardest hit of the game?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely was. I was caught off guard with it. I was like trying to get in better position on the receiver or whatever. And then it was just happening. I was like, dang.
Go.
I was just curious, when you guys went back and watched the film, there were uncharacteristic missed tackles in this last game. Was there anything in particular you guys put finger on, kind of what happened there? Was it just technique or lack of leverage, or anything in particular that you saw when you guys went and looked at film?
I mean, no, they're good backs. They're good backs and stuff like that. They got a good team. I mean, we watched the film. Things happen. We missed tackles. But, yeah, it was more so a little bit of combination of everything. We were just trying to work on all that, clamp, working with leverage, squeeze a little bit more. Like, it happens in football, so we learn from it and move on.
Okay.
Coach Key said yesterday that attention to detail could have been better, and I'm curious from your guys' end, or just you personally, was that something you sensed that it could have been a little tighter in the way you guys were preparing to play Florida State?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like personally, like, we played good first and second down, and like when it got to third down, that's when we didn't pay attention to where the sticks was, or maybe like we let something go that we shouldn't have. Like, that was a big down for us that we didn't take advantage of third down, I feel like. So yeah.
Go.
I'm hoping this is correct in my mind, but you played in 2018 at Virginia Tech.
Mhm.
What do you remember about that? Like, that was a crazy game, and what do you remember about playing up there?
It was a very up and down game at first. It was a shootout at first. The 21, like, they scored, we scored, they scored, we scored, very fast. And I remember, I think a punt, they muffed the punt, I think, and then that's when we started like winning. Like, that's when that was the game Tobias and JP, I think, broke the record for combined rushing yards or something like that, or something. Yeah, so that was a big game for me. I started, yeah. That was a big game for me.
I don't know if you were aware of this, but Malachi is going to, assuming he plays, will set the school record for most games played in a career. And you've obviously been around him a long while. I'm curious just for your observations of him as a teammate. What have you appreciated about him?
Oh, I appreciate Mally. He gonna come to work every day. He not no pushover. He's not gonna let nobody just walk over him. So that's good for competition. When we out here going against each other, he makes the corners better. And then he's a cool guy. He's funny. I mean, he's one of the guys. He's one of us for sure. So, like, we've been embraced each other, like, from freshman year or whatever, and realized two dogs. So, we always got along.
Ron?
You've last quarter of the season, you faced a lot of quarterbacks that like to pull the ball down and take off and run. What do you see from the Virginia Tech quarterback this week?
He does. He definitely likes to improvise and make things happen with his feet and his legs. We're gonna have to keep him in the pocket and be aware of the down and distance. So they allow him to use his legs, design quarterback runs and stuff like that. So we're gonna have to be aware of him, and also in scramble drills and stuff like that. So yeah, it's a big part of his game.
Go.
Have you guys, you or Ace or some of the other seniors talked about these last few games and trying to make the most out of what's left on the schedule here?
Yeah, for sure. With me, this being my last year, that's definitely what I'm me personally. That's like I look in the mirror every day and I'm trying to just embrace these last moments of college. So, but like just me being an older person on the team, and I know at a young age you're not thinking about stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely tell like the younger guys like stay in it and just like continue to get better, because it's like it's not a one time. It's not like I'm gonna get better now and then I'm gonna take that same better like my same state of position and I'm gonna be this next year. It's like you just gotta work each and every day. You're gonna get better or worse every day. So it's like you gotta continue to work on your craft and what you really want to do for real. So that's how I look at it.
Ken?
Something else Coach Key mentioned was that, just he wants everybody to be mad. He didn't use those words exactly, but what did you get the sense that guys, after losing 2 games, you win 2 and you're sure guys are excited, and you lose 2? Can you give me a sense of kind of what maybe the mood or vibe is with you guys?
I mean, yeah, of course it would be upsetting and kind of like down on ourselves, but as far as just like the team, we know we could do better, and we know that we got to lean on each other and push each other to continue to do that. So like, I mean, the season, like I said, like y'all said, the season not over with, so we got to continue to push each other and just grind out and have fun with it. Like, that's all we can do.
Anything else for Charlie? Appreciate you, Charlie, as always.
sure.
Don't forget your protein.
Y'all have a
Appreciate
good
you,
one.
bud.
Yes, sir.